What's going on, everyone? My name's Jose, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about what I think the future value of Apple is going to be. This is going to be a quick little talk that I want to just, mention to you guys because Apple's coming up with this big stock split, and I want to know, how much can it be worth later on, maybe in 5 or 10 years. And I'm also going to be talking about how much $500 would have been when the first iPhone came out. Yeah, you remember that first iPhone, the first generation iPhone that came out at $499. You're gonna be mind blown by how much only $500 back in 2007 when it first came out, how much money that would be now in 2020. Before we start this video, you know what to do. Just make sure you smash that like button. Yes, that little button that's like this. Just make sure you click it and make it blue. You don't understand how much this actually helps out the YouTube algorithm, and it helps other people find these videos. So thank you so much. So one of the biggest questions that I ask myself all the time is, what is Apple going to be worth later on? We're buying all of these shares right before the split or even after the split. Obviously, all this research that I'm doing is just for hypothetical scenarios in the future. So just make sure you don't take my word for it, because it can go sideways. Like Apple can tomorrow just do something crazy and their stock can plummet. God, please make sure that that doesn't happen. But what I want to do is maybe just take some figures and try to see if we can reach maybe some type of value, whether it's $200 or $500 later on in the future for one Apple share. So if you didn't know, Apple just hit a big milestone that no other company in the world has ever done, and it is the first US company to hit a $2 trillion valuation. This only comes 2 years after they were the first company to hit $1 trillion. Now, Alphabet, Amazon, and Microsoft are at that trillion mark, that 1 trillion mark. But Apple in 2 years just did that whole thing once again, and now it's at 2 trillion. Apple has been overperforming in a lot of their areas financially. So if we read here, in the June 30 quarter of this year, Apple's service revenues rose from 15% to $13.16 billion. Services include App Store, Apple Care, iCloud, Apple Pay, Apple Music, Apple TV, Apple Arcade, and other offerings. Meanwhile, Apple's wearables, home, and accessories unit saw sales jump 17% to $6.45 billion in the June quarter. Wearables are Apple AirPods or Apple Watches. One of the areas where Apple just blew out of proportion is their Mac sales and also their iPad sales. So their Mac computer sales jumped 22% to $7 billion for the June quarter. iPad sales leaped 31% to $6.5 billion. And as they mentioned here, the work from home and school at home trends is mainly the reason why those numbers are just through the roof. Obviously, everyone's home, they need computers and they need iPads for school and things of that sort. Because of the pandemic, they thought that Apple's iPhone 12 would have to be delayed. However, Apple mentioned that their supply chain is up and running, and if the iPhone gets released in the fall, this is a huge revenue stream for Apple. Apple's iPhone is definitely one of the biggest revenue streams for Apple, and this is something that we have to take into effect now that this Apple iPhone 12 is coming out in the fall. This is all revenue that's going to just increase that share price later on in the future. There are some analysts saying that Apple stock in the future, maybe 5-10 years, it can be $250 all the way to $725. There's also some articles there saying that they'll reach $1,000. And if they do, that's a lot of money right there. So hopefully they do. You never know. You also have to take into account that it can also go below $250. It can actually lose value, and it could be, $10 a share. It could be $0 a share. You always have to take that into consideration when making any type of investment decisions. But that's just me saying that. Just remember, I'm nobody. Just make sure that you do your research before you do any type of investing. So now back to that little thing that I told you about. What if you would have invested $500 in 2007 when the first iPhone came out? So if you would have spent $500 on Apple stock instead of buying that first iPhone, which came out on June 29th, 2007 for $500, each share on June 29th was $17.43. So it's $500 divided by how much it was. It was $17.43 back in 2007. You would get approximately 28 shares of Apple stock. Now you're saying, oh, okay, 28 shares at $17, that's only $500, right? Now we got to take into consideration that Apple went through a stock split In 2014, it was a 7-1. If you had one share of Apple, it would automatically turn into 7. So now what that means is we're doing 28 shares that you bought times the 7, which is the split that you get, right? You get 196 shares in 2014. Right now, Apple stock is $497.48. We're just going to round up and we're going to say it's $498. So we multiply these 196 shares times $497, and you get a whopping $97,412. So imagine that you would have spent $500, you would have gotten almost $100,000 back. Back when it was 2009, I was in high school, so I wish somebody would have told me, hey, you know what? Instead of buying that phone, just go ahead and put some money into Apple. Well, there's still time, and I can't dwell over spilled milk, so let's go ahead and start breaking the cycle so our future generations are wealthy and healthy. So with all of that being said, thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, and if you like any of this content, make sure you smash the like button. Once again, if you guys have anything, please leave your comments down below, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.